The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 295. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She is the founding partner of Women on a Mission, and I'm just really excited to have her on and share her story with us on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Christine Amour-Levar. Christine, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to our listeners.
I'm great. Thank you, Sheena, very much for contacting me and interviewing me on your podcast. It's a real pleasure to be here. And as we were chatting earlier, I realized we have a lot in common already, which is really nice. So I was born in the Philippines, and my mom's from the Philippines. My father's French and Swiss. I grew up between both Manila and Paris, and then spent about 6 years in Japan for university and my first job there as well. And then I've moved around the world a little bit. I lived in the United States, both East Coast and West Coast, working for Nike mostly, and then lived in Paris again as an adult, working for Nike as well in France and doing different things. I also worked in interior design. And then 10 years ago, I came to Singapore, where I live today, and have been doing different things. I'm here in Singapore with my husband and 4 children as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, Christine, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Gosh, I have so many, because I actually collect quotes as well, like many people. I jot down my favorites. But I think one of my favorites is just knowing that everybody is unique in their own special way. And for me, that makes everybody special. And so everybody can feel confident about their own unique, qualities. And so that's what I enjoy the most. And I actually tell my children that often, is that every single one of them is unique and they're beautiful in that special way.
Thanks for sharing that quote. And I think we forget, that we all have certain skills and certain talents that make us unique from like 7 billion people in the world. And, it's just sometimes, especially growing up being Asian, like we're so good at the comparing game, So it's like, we tend to lower our worth when we can realize that we are so much worthy of, anything that's possible with us, because we have certain skills, we have certain talents, we have certain strengths that, has been given to us, and we can use it to our own advantage. So I really love that quote. It's a really great reminder. And in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
I think being self-confident, can take a lifetime. And to be honest, for me, I feel that as I get older, it's a journey, isn't it? And when you're in your 20s, I definitely, search for myself, and even in my 30s and now in my early 40s, I feel that I still have a lot to learn, and I'm still learning about myself. But the wonderful thing about getting older, I think, is just knowing yourself. And that's a big part of being confident, is just to understand what are your strong points, what are some areas that you can work on, what are things that you enjoy. And just knowing yourself better is a big part of the confidence journey for me personally.
That's a great definition, and it's so true. When we're in this journey of self-confidence, it's something that you do forever, right? Daily work.
Yes.
So many things, arises, so many challenges, so many experiences that we can learn from. And it's, knowing ourselves, whether it's the good, the bad, the ugly, we take everything about us and just embrace it and love it.
I think that's so true. Yeah. I think every experience you have, be it in your career or even through relationships with friends, teach you a little bit more about yourself. And just recently, I just realized that, I embarked on a project recently, and it wasn't really in line with my values. And I after a few months, I decided to pull out of it. And I realized that, moving forward, I really need to think hard, because by nature, I want to embrace a lot of opportunities. But I have to realize that if these projects are not in line with my core values, what I believe is right, or what, I want to spend my time on, then it's a conflict, isn't it? So that's, for me, that's part of learning about myself as well. And so I took that as a lesson. And I realized that, when I do get presented with other opportunities, I really have to think hard. Is this something that I believe in with my heart and soul? And do I want to spend time? Because as I get busier with different things, my time is becoming so precious, because I want to give enough time to my family as well as not just my friends and my work projects. So that's the wonderful thing about, just getting a little bit older and knowing yourself. It's just, you know what you want to spend time on and what you don't. and you have to prioritize like that.
That is so true, and thanks for sharing that. It's so important that you work on something that you stand by for. I totally believe the same. So thanks for sharing that great definition.
Not at all.
And Christine, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
I think I mean, obviously, when you're a kid, I'm a very extroverted person. And so apparently when I was a child, my parents always tell me that I was always out there talking to people. And I think your discovery of self-confidence begins as early as that, as when you're a child, when you discover the world, your first experiences with people. It's all part of that journey, isn't it? It doesn't really just start when you're an adult. So I think it's really been a life journey, and it's still very much that today for me. It's funny because, and a big part of that journey for me is also education and learning. And I'm currently actually looking at going back to school. I have a BA in international business and economics, which I got from a university in Japan. That when I went, the very first time I went to university, I actually also did a degree in New York in interior design, which led me to work in interior design in Paris for a while. And now I'm actually thinking of taking up another degree. I'm toying with the idea of, there's a new master's program that I'm looking at in international affairs. And I just think that if you look at life, and you say if you're lucky enough to live till 80 or 90, and a lot of Asian women are actually living until the hundreds nowadays, then we're basically not even halfway there. And so why not look at another opportunity to go back to school? And I hope to do that all my life. And I think that's another part of my personal, confidence journey, is just keep making yourself competitive in terms of your career, learning new skills, adding on to what you've done so far, complementing them with either an experience or even more studies or another degree. I think that's, if you're able to afford it and put some of your savings into that, it's really an investment in yourself and your future. So I'm very excited about that. I'm actually going to take the GRE this year. I haven't taken a test in so long, so it's going to be an interesting thing, and hopefully I get into the school I have in mind. And I hope to try to do that while working as well.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, that's going to be quite a juggle with 4 kids as well, right?
Yes.
They say if you are, you will do whatever it takes to find a way to get it done. So, it's great that you are.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think when I think back about my time in university, I think I definitely did a bit more wasting time sitting around in the cafeteria of university. So now I'm definitely more efficient with my time because it's so scarce. So in a way, I think you can actually take on a bit more that way if you're just very efficient. And that's one of the things I pride myself in, is I really try to plan my weeks and my months and my year very carefully. Obviously, I need to be flexible because not everything, always pans out the way I want. But I think if you're efficient and organized, you can definitely pack more in and be more efficient with your time. And so I try to do that as well, and it allows me to do quite a few things.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, was there any point in your life where you realized, you are, as confident as you are today? Like, was there any aha moments when you knew that, you were just that person you were meant to be to go out and do great things?
That's a very interesting question. I think for me, I think that the biggest kind of challenge in my life had been in my early 30s when I actually divorced from my first husband of 10 years. So it was a very personal experience, very difficult time for me. I had 2 young kids. Divorce is something that's very difficult for a lot of people. So for me, it was a very difficult time. I spent a lot of time in the mountains climbing. So that's when I rediscovered my love of climbing, because as a child, my parents had taken me a lot to the Alps in Europe, but just on holidays. I had never done any serious climbing. So that's when I really discovered climbing, because the mountains gave me strength. And I think I found that when all this was happening and emotionally I was very fragile, I realized that, you are stronger than you think. You have a way of being resilient. I worked very hard at my job. I was working for Nike in Singapore at the time. So that kind of kept me, very strong and focused on the things I had to get done. And just realizing that things don't always work out, and just accepting that and forgiving yourself. I think a big part is, divorce is often seen as a failure. And I realized that if I just, was very honest with myself, I could look at all the good years that we had, and that was a success. And yes, maybe it didn't last more than 10 years, but it was still a marriage. And so for me, that was a very important part of my life, because I forgave myself. I freed myself that way. I just said, I'm not going to feel guilty anymore. I'm going to embrace life and make the best of it, and just make sure everybody's healthy and happy, and look at all the good points. So it made me stronger, more resilient, ready to face the world. And I think hopefully it made me a better person. And a few years later, I was very lucky. I met someone else, got married again, and had 2 more kids. That's why I have 4 kids. The world works in funny ways, and I think you always have to believe in your luck as well. But those challenges in life really make you stronger, I think, and make you a better person.
Thanks for sharing that. And I know sometimes divorce is hard to talk about, and so many women out there do feel like they're a failure. When sometimes I don't really see it as failing. Sometimes it's not connecting, and things have to happen for a reason, for better things to come along. I mean, it may not look at it at first. Like thinking, what is the world doing to me, or what's the universe doing to me? Not realizing that something better is going to come along. Like for you, you were out there, you got remarried again, have more kids, you have a better life. That wouldn't have happened if, you didn't get divorced in your early 30s.
Exactly. I think it also depends on the attitude a lot, I think if you take stock, I think it's okay to look in the mirror and say, I could have done this, I could have done that. But once you do that, I think it's okay to say, you know what, I did the best I could. You really can tell yourself that, then you're okay, I feel. You did the best you could. You still take all the good years that you've had, all the beautiful moments, because there are, in any relationship. And then you move on from there, forgive yourself, don't be too harsh, and then just try to enjoy life. Because when you enjoy life, you attract nice people, you attract nice friends, you attract nice men. I really believe in that. So I believe in my luck. I do believe in my lucky star. I've always had that positivity, and I think that helps a lot. I think behind that, there has to be, a solid base of hard work, being loyal to your friends, and having a solid core. It can't just be that positive fluffiness. But I think a big part is also believing in your luck, making your luck, and then working hard for it. So all that, all that positivity brings good vibes to you in relationships, in friendships, in careers. And I'm a relentless believer in in positivity, that it's always going to be better tomorrow. So I think that is a strength in itself. And I think when things get tough, I think you have to keep that, as much as possible, you have to keep that outlook on life, because you can always live a better day the next day. So I often tell my friends who are going through difficult times, just try to keep that positivity. And there's so many ways to get there, like some exercise has been a big part of my life, being, that's why I wrote a book about post-pregnancy fitness and that, because I actually really believe that, especially for a woman who has children, coming back from a tough pregnancy, getting back into shape, getting your body strong and healthy makes you so much stronger mentally and ready to tackle the world. So that balance is extremely important. And that's why I believe in sports, and that's why the nonprofit I co-founded has a physical element of challenge as well, because I love that part of my life, which is, staying fit and healthy and using that through many ways to be more balanced, to then challenge yourself, to raise funds and awareness for causes that you believe in through the passions that you have, and one of my passions is sports, has always been. That's why I worked for Nike for quite a few years.
Thanks for sharing that. I love all the tips that you mentioned. And, if our listeners wanted to connect with you or get to know a little bit more about you and what you do, or maybe check out your book, is there any links?
Sure, they can check my website. And my website is like a blog, and so occasionally I'll share articles there, and that's definitely one way to connect with me. So they can go to www.christineamour-levar.com. It's very easy. So it's my name and then .com, and there are ways to connect with me through that website and blog.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Christine. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Christine, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Christine's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I really just want to thank Christine for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much.
It was a pleasure, Sheena. Thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed the conversation, and do keep in touch.
For sure, it was an honor having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Want to learn how you can use podcasting to market your business? Download your free report by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.